Somebody to give me a distance, somebody to give me a direction, just an area. Somebody say north, south, east, or west. From this point, we need to go a direction and a distance. I'm gonna try this concept again. We need a distance and a direction. We're here to put you on television.
All right.
You wanna be on TV?
Sure, I don't care.
Audience alliance. So let me try and do that in American. It would be something like audience alliance. Does that sound any good?
Hey everybody, welcome to The Story Trek. You haven't heard those words in a long time. And you're saying, Todd, this is different. Yeah, it is different. What we're going to do over the upcoming weeks is show you individual stories from The Story Trek. So it's The Story Trek Revisited, but I'm going to add context. I'm going to add behind the scenes information that never made it into an episode. I'm going to update stories where I can. So what we're starting out with is the very first story from the very first episode. And this is kind of the origin story, part of the origin story to how the Story Trek even came to be. We'll talk more about that after the story. It starts out with me just walking up to some guys sitting out eating at an outdoor diner, and all I want is a distance and a direction. And this is how it went.
Morning, guys. Can we put you on television? What I need is you guys to give me, somebody to give me a distance, somebody to give me a direction.
You got Phil's address?
Meet Len, Kevin, and Jimmy, three really nice guys. What we want from them is pretty simple, really, just a distance and a direction. But they want to be a little more helpful.
I think the most interesting guy, well, first of all, Blake wouldn't agree to it, but he's an interesting guy.
We don't want you to send us to a particular home, just an area.
Over the years, we have all these interesting stories of things that have happened to each other.
It's completely random, so once we get to wherever you guys send us, we're gonna knock on doors.
So, yeah, it's a really neat street with a lot of nice people.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna try this concept again. We need a distance and a direction. Somebody say north, south, east, or west.
I'm talking northeast, probably.
Or northeast. That would be great.
That way.
How many blocks?
From here or up there?
From here. From this point, we need to go a direction and a distance.
That's about 4 miles northeast.
4 miles northeast. We can handle that.
Well, that was easy. We reset our trip counter to 0 miles, and through the magic of television editing, we made it about 4 miles in 8 seconds.
Well, we're about 4 miles. We're 3.9 miles. I don't think we're in Len's neighborhood, but we're okay with that. This is our first house, our first victim. We'll see if they want to be on television.
So it was on to the next house, where we met a little guy with one of the coolest names ever, Finn Bear.
Hi there. Is your mom or dad home? Hey there, how you doing?
Good. How's it going?
Good. Todd Hansen with BYU Broadcasting.
Yes.
We're here to put you on television.
All right.
You want to be on TV?
Sure, I don't care.
Really?
Sounds good.
My name's Damien Bear, and I'm from Melbourne, Australia. But I've been living here in Provo, Utah for about coming up to 3 years.
The Bear family consists of Damien and his wife Liz and the three little bears, Georgia, Madison, and you've met Finn.
He's a smart little boy, and I expect him to, I don't know, go places. With the name Finn Bear, he's going to be a star, I think. And with
That's if Georgia doesn't beat him to it. The camera work, that was Madison. The editing, the kids did it themselves. You see, nobody in this family is camera shy. That's probably Dad's fault.
So I work for a film company, and that's what brought me here.
The company started in Australia but moved to Park City, Utah, with the goal of producing family-friendly films.
The films that we plan to make will be films that have great stories, good values, and uplifting, leave you wanting more, When you leave the cinema, you feel like you've had an experience.
You might be curious about the name of the studio. Well, I could just tell you, but it sounds a lot better coming from Damien.
Audience Alliance. So let me try and do that in American. It would be something like Audience Alliance. Does that sound any good?
That's really good. Action!
Being in the movie business sounds glamorous, and it probably is at times, but it's also fickle, especially in a tough economy.
When, the recession hit, don't know exactly when it hit, but for us it hit Christmas Day 2008 is when we found out that we were not going to be paid indefinitely.
We struggled for a little while in that global financial crisis, and we've come through stronger.
Trapped on the most remote landscape on Earth, Tommy's music was his only chance for escape.
Our first film has been released. We did some testing here in the US, and it was called Broken Hill, which is the name of a small outback town in the middle of Australia. And we are just in preparations to release that on a wide scale in Australia right now.
And with Academy Award winner Timothy Hutton. Broken Hill.
Damien is the production and marketing manager for the studio. He says it was great to get back to Australia for filming, but he and Liz both say they could not imagine living anywhere else right now than America.
Growing up, America was the place I knew I always wanted to go and always, had the goal of coming here.
They actually tried unsuccessfully to use her registered nursing degree to get to the U.S. They didn't imagine filmmaking would bring them here.
This opportunity's worked out. We feel like we're supposed to be here, and yeah, we're loving it. I mean, it's growing up, America's you always want to go there. I don't know if it's Disneyland or America that's the attraction, but same place.
Wonderful life experience. I mean, sometimes I do pinch myself. And anytime I feel like I'm complaining about where I'm at in life, I do pinch myself and think, there'd be a million. A lot of people who would, want an adventurous life like I've had.
So far, they say it's been a great storyline.
Great family, great story. And this story was actually kind of our pilot episode. I'd been in talks with the network for quite some time, and it kind of stalled a little bit. And finally, I just said, you know what? Just give me a crew and let me prove this concept. They're like, okay, yeah, well, we'll see what he comes up with, And you saw in the story, the very second door, after I got those guys to finally give me a distance and a direction, which I thought worked out great for the show anyway. Anyway, we got that story on just the second door, incredible story. And then the network was like, where has this been all our lives? We should do this. I'm like, yeah, I think so. So we did the story trek. And you've seen it. Like I said, you love it. And it doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter where you're from. I'll find a story. That's what I had to prove. And it worked out. So in the coming weeks, you're going to see more and more and more stories with some of the backstory on what these stories were all about, the areas that we were in, how things came to be. Because, we'd interview somebody for 45 minutes to 2 hours sometimes, and we'd put together a 4, 5, 6, 7 minute story. So obviously there's a lot of stuff that didn't get in the story that went on the air. And if you want to see the entire episode, go to byutv.org and search for The Story Trek. And again, that's season 1, episode 1. Or you can watch it on the BYU TV app. And please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and then hit the bell so that you'll be notified when future stories come up, because they'll be coming